You're listening to the Unsung Podcast, where we talk about classic albums and decide if they deserve that distinction. And we also talk about some unsung classics in the hopes of bringing them to a new audience. And at the end of it all, we let you decide if we were right or wrong. This is the Unsung Podcast. You are listening to episode 25 of the Unsung Podcast. On last week's episode, we spoke about the album You Are Free by Cat Power, and the public have decided that it indeed does make its way into our discography. So thank you to everybody who voted. We appreciate that. Want to give a big shout out to Craig Carrick, who donated a princely sum of money. Frankly, ridiculous amount of money he donated to us, but we appreciate it nonetheless. And also another shout out to Fraser Stewart again, who once again donated us some money. Thank you. We really appreciate the fact that you guys are sending us money. We are now very close to being able to buy something like a microphone, so that'll be really, really good. Just another 2 to go, and a recorder. So yeah, it's good to know that people actually care and people will listen and people will send us some cash. So cheers guys, much appreciated. On this episode, we are talking about Never Better by P.O.S. I think this is the first proper hip-hop record we've done since Death Grips, ex-military, so it's been a wee while. So yeah, hope you enjoy this.
Sorry I took so long. If there ain't nobody to be pretty for, fuck it, let it rattle.
Boss
Let the
Boom
clatter kill 'em, let the cataclysm
That'll
watch.
happen.
Who really listens?
It's just a wee cheeky rumble.
Cheeky Rumble. You're listening to the Unsung Podcast. I am your host Mark Fraser, and I am joined by two members of Doomtree.
To my right is I can see his socks and they're matching. It's Mr. Chris Cusack. I don't know who's got sweatier socks. You do.
I thought by wearing black socks it would hide the sweatiness of my feet.
I'm afraid not. It just
They've just
accentuates it.
Even blacker. How much more black? None more black. Yeah, I'm sitting to David's right, and sitting to my left is David.
Hi.
And he's wearing a really quite snazzy little polka dot shirt today.
Wait a minute.
And
Hang on.
His socks match his shirt.
Socks match my t-shirt.
holy cow.
That is
They,
not meant.
They really do. Like an identical pattern.
Wowzers.
And we were just remarking, he's looking rather svelte at the moment.
Thanks.
His new moustache and his trim.
Oh, there we are. My falafel.
It's another inch off the belt line.
He's also missing a hernia.
Oh yeah, had a hernia.
He's actually physically lighter.
Yeah.
Physiologically lighter.
Well, no, because they don't take anything out.
What did it
Tuck
do?
it
They
back
just
in.
like tie a knot.
Oh, I wish I took it out.
They just like. That's the noise that the surgeon made. So
How was it?
it was fine. I was asleep, so they knocked me out. I wasn't there, so I don't really remember it. But I woke up and I was fine, and then I've been fine.
My friend got a circumcision at a remarkably late age, and he was telling us at football the other day about it. And they put up a screen, but they keep you awake.
They keep you awake. Oh,
Yeah.
I wouldn't want that.
He got the first jag, and they said to him, "Can you feel this?" And he was like, "Yeah, I can feel it. I can feel it." And they were like, "Oh yeah, well you can feel it, but can you really?" And he was like, I can feel it. I can feel it. And they're like, okay, we'll give you a second jag. They gave him a second jag, and then he was getting the operation, and the nurse was holding his hand, and it was one of these kind of like comforting, matronly kind of older women that's just always looks unfazed and stuff, and he's like looking up at her, and she's going, "Oh, you're doing well, son. You're doing well. It's going fine. It's going fine." Then he could tell that she was like peeking over the top to look down at it. Then she got this kind of look in her face where her face sort of dropped. He started panicking. He's like, "What is it? What is it? What's wrong?" And she was like, "Oh, it's just a wee bit of blood." But she like looked totally white.
Oh God. No,
so for the next 40 minutes or whatever it took, he was just waiting and finding out how big a disaster it had been. But I don't know, it turns out it's still there.
They sorted it.
Yeah, they either reattached it really quickly or she's just more squeamish.
He's never found the seam. I don't really know where we go from that story.
Yeah.
Talking of manhood,
Manliness,
rap, and
Rap.
then hip hop, and then P.O.S.
P.O.S.
That's how it went.
Yeah.
Funny. Hey, been working in these
That was
links.
so smooth.
You guys told me go home and work in your links, and I've been going home and working on my links.
And a lot of you worked on them. So this week we're talking about Never Better by P.O.S, which I believe is kind of mine and Dave's choice at the same time.
Yeah, I think so.
I think so, yeah.
I think we wanted to do a hip hop record, and this is one that we definitely agreed on.
Mm-hmm.
And
And I had that
you-
usual blank expression.
What is hip hop?
Get swerved, get sleep, buy it up, come on. They out for presidents to represent them. You think a president could represent you? You really think a president would represent you? Right. They call me P.O.S. Bold from the gold to the ice cold bones. Freezing in that Minnesota snow, heating up the winter with the flow. They make it rain.
Hippity hop. I don't know what that is, Chris.
I kind of pushed the glasses further up my nose and made a very
I'm
sort
not
of like,
sure about that. Was that Puff Diddy? Oh no, not sure.
but I got with it.
Yeah.
In the course of the
Yeah, you
week.
down with it, bro.
Yeah, man.
Oh, that is fuck.
Is
Well,
that
funnily
is that a
enough,
good thing?
You're woke.
This is one of the first hip hop records I ever got into.
Really?
Yeah. When did it?
2009 it came out.
Which is weird because I thought it was earlier than that. So I must have been 23 when this came out. But I was sure I remember listening to it in a flat in uni with my flatmate and really getting into it. But apparently I'd moved out of that flat by according to actual history.
You're having a Bernstein
Which is really
Bears
weird.
moment.
Yeah, I'm totally got false memories of this record in the wrong place, but that's fine. I still like it.
It's a good
I
stuff.
didn't misremember that.
I mean, that whole phenomenon of the subjectivity of memory. There you go. Jackpot.
That's a whole other podcast.
Manufactured our entire past.
It could be a whole live show.
Even from illness.
Where's all this? I don't know. Never been there. Who knows?
So, this is P.O.S.'s third album.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Every single album he's done has been really different from the one before. I don't know if it's my favourite, but I think it may be his best. Does that make sense?
God damn it, why'd you pick it?
I didn't.
It's my favourite.
It's my
Definitely
favourite.
my favourite.
It's definitely my favourite.
Definitely your favourite.
I've got a question before we get started here. So I was looking into his back catalogue to try and make like I'm down. And his first EP is called False Hopes.
Yep.
So Mark, I know a band called False Hopes with a guy called Mark Fraser in it. Who picked the name for that band?
It may have been me.
Coincidence?
Yes. Well, see, interestingly, a lot of people on Doomtree have released records called False Hopes. I don't know what that's all about.
What?
The first Doomtree album's called False Hopes as well.
So multiple people in the same label have released albums and
Released
EPs
records, EPs and records, albums
False Hopes?
called False Hopes, yeah.
Well, that's a bit of a
Kind of weird.
fuck you.
Yeah. But yeah, he's part of Doomtree, which is a record label / collective that he started. He no longer runs it anymore. Dessa runs it, or Dessa. Don't know how you say that. I think Americans say Dessa. Dessa, I don't know. But she's...
Do I look like the kind of person that would know?
I don't know why I'm looking at you. Don't even know why you're here. Yeah, so, Weaver, why do you like this record so much? Why is it your favourite P.O.S. record?
There's just something about the live instrumentation, the drums. It's a really punk rock hip hop record.
I'm never gonna shed these extra. Yeah, so fuck it. Back to the wall, crush it. Laugh at them all, hush. Let them try to find the beauty in your face. Yeah, something more than a song hating. Oh, come on, dust. Let them try to find the beauty in the bass line. Oh, when the words don't change, we don't sing before they fade away.
Yeah, I was just listening to a lot of new music at that time in my life, sort of expanding my horizons from my normal Korn and Alanis Morissette life.
Normal, inverted commas.
No, there was just something that totally struck me with this record. It was like the energy that it had. I don't know, it's really fucking immediate. It's really urgent. There's something in his voice, and then like his lyrics, and also, you know, just the productions to me is fucking brilliant. It totally stands out compared to his other stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's really vibrant and live.
You told me in advance you were like, this guy's like a punk,
Yeah.
like a punk hip hop artist, and I was like, I take that with a pinch of salt because Mark, you say a lot of things, and most of them, you know, it's like, well, I see where he was coming from, but this one I really see where you're coming from. Like, well, first of all, the fact that he plays in Marijuana Death Squad.
Yeah, he used to be called
And
Building Better Bombs.
Building Better Bombs. Yeah, he played guitar and vocals in that, and keys in Marijuana Death Squad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he actually is a punk rocker. Like, he's a guy who plays in punk rock bands, who's then also enough of a hip hop fan that he's pursued a career in that. And there is absolutely like a strong cross pollination, not even just like a tokenistic, contrived sort of, oh, it's kind of punk in its attitude. I mean, it is, but musically, like the live drums in this are what really got me into it. Like, it is kind of hard for me to relate to stuff. And as much as I can relate to stuff like Portishead, for example, Portishead's quite downbeat music, and it's all about that kind of unnerving thing. When the music's upbeat like this, but everything's really sampled and really clinical, I find it hard to engage with it. But this has energy. You can hear stuff getting played. You can hear.
It sounds like a band.
It does, yeah. It's got a real band vibe, and you can tell he's drawn that from his own personal enjoyment of performance, like the energy of like live performance. And it for me, it really elevates this above. Like I was taken aback at how much I liked it. I mean, I don't mind some of the stuff you've suggested in the past. I've enjoyed it. Can't say I've listened to it since very much, but this I've recreationally listened to since, and yeah, I was really impressed by the guy's attitude towards combining the best elements of two really vibrant styles of music.
Yeah, I know all the drums. Well, most of the drums were played by him on this, or sampled by him. He played them and sampled them.
Sounds like a drummer.
Together. I guess you could say he approaches music in a totally punk kind of way. It's just whatever he kind of feels like the song needs to have. All of his records sound completely different, which I think is a real credit to him and his artistic vision. It takes him a long time to write a record though. I think the one that came out before this, Audition, was 2005, and then We Don't Even Live Here was 2013, 2012.
Yeah, but Jesus, man, the guy's playing, but he's in the Degenerates. He was in He's in those two bands we mentioned. He does stuff with Doomtree.
Yeah, he's a busy guy, man.
What is it? He's in that Gangs.
Gangs.
He's a member of Wharf Rats with the guy from Gallows, and a member of Anti-Flag as well.
Doing Shredders right now, which is his new project.
Yeah, he's got a radio show weekly in Minnesota, KCMP station. I mean, it's like, no wonder it takes him 4 years to do an album at that rate.
I was approached with hip hop records with a certain amount of trepidation because there's just so many fucking songs and lots of hip hop albums, you know. And as a punk kid, my attention span kind of starts to waver after like half hour mark.
Is that a total feature of hip hop records? Because
most, I would say so.
Yeah, a lot of them are long, or a lot of them have like skits and stuff like that. You know, like little sort of interludes, and you just kind of so like the track listing just goes on and on a little bit. And I mean, on this is a long record for a punk record.
For sure,
it's 55 minutes long, 16 tracks. Even though the songs are all, you know, punk songs basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's something about it. I think it's got enough diversity in it. The first time that I listened back to this, when we decided we were going to do it, it's like I was remembering it, and I was like, I do kind of remember it being quite long. But then on my first listen back, I was like, oh, this next track works really well as the next track, and it's different. And kind of went, I was happy the whole way through until the end. I was like, I didn't get bored. It does that really well.
I felt it was a wee bit front loaded. Like just a wee bit. Like there's some really standout tracks early on in it. Without getting into the track listing in too much detail, it did take going back to it and starting midway to try and give the last 8 tracks a fair amount of attention. Because it's that if you listen to it from the start, then inevitably by track 10 you're kind of like a little bit, you know. But
well, I'm always of the. I mean, how are you supposed to remember, you know, 16 tracks just yourself? Like I love a short album.
That's why, you know, it's why when you do things like a teaching company and all those kind of audio lecture programs, it's always, you know, 30 to 40 minutes, because that's estimated to be the optimum attention span time.
Yeah, exactly. That's how long you can pay attention to something. So any longer than that, it's stretching you.
It's interesting. Some albums you go back to and you restart them halfway through, you experience the last stuff in a whole new way.
That's it. And so, like, if you were to listen to this in a oneer, you might get tired. But what it is it's got 16 really good and interesting tracks that are really diverse. So fuck it, if you get bored, or if you're walking halfway and you have to stop, you're right, you just start halfway through and then you get another totally different part to it.
The tracks from the halfway point towards the end are much different in feel as well. You know, it does seem to be an album which evolves as it goes on. It's very direct to begin with, and then the tracks towards the end kind of are a bit more expansive, a much kind of broader soundscape.
Dragging a lake, dragging a kettlebell. Nothing ever gets done. Nothing ever just makes. So much dismantle. Nothing ever gets done. Never people in place. Every never is now. Every never is now. Find a base.
I'll come back to that though.
Wind them back, because I do, like, it'll be good to do a bit of a deep dive in the actual tracks themselves, because they are so diverse.
A lot going on in them as well.
But to kind of set the scene a wee bit, right? So P.O.S, the guy's name's Stefan Alexander.
Stefan Alexander, yeah. Steph.
But is P.O.S piece of shit?
He doesn't say.
He's never
said what it is.
I just assumed that's because the P.O.S, if you do it in shorthand in a message,
He says it as well. I think one of the songs. Maybe it's in We Don't Even Live Here. Chose an offensive name, meaning it's a piece of shit. Steph's a piece of shit. I think it was something he claims that he just did it when he was in school. He just called himself P.O.S, but he never really says what it's for.
So he did say chose an offensive name. All right, okay.
Yeah,
So.
but he's never really explicitly said what it's for. Just P.O.S. Because you'll notice as well, I didn't notice this until I got pulled up by publicists, but there's no dot at the end either, so it's not an abbreviation fully.
Oh, P.O.S.
Yeah, there's no abbreviation, so it's just like, I think he's just fucking with people.
Unless you're putting it at the end of a sentence. Like, tomorrow I'm going to be speaking to P.O.S. full stop. Fuck you, publicist. Deal with that.
So yeah, it's never really been particularly clear what it is for, but he's always went by that name. Or I mean, he's, whenever you meet him, he always introduced himself as Steph and stuff like that. So it's like definitely a stage name, but
it's not point of sale then.
could be.
It's visual
I mean, it could
merchandising
be.
from my days of working in Summerfield, the supermarket chain.
Summerfield, Jesus,
Long gone, but heady time.
living on in your memory.
Mm-hmm.
My mum actually found a gateway,
Just Summerfield.
a gateway poly bag upstairs in the loft the other day.
Really?
Like gateway was what turned into Summerfield. So that
Call
was
me
like,
when she finds a fine fair poly bag, mate.
I don't even know what that
You
is.
can sell that shit on eBay and make some money.
Aye. No.
Is that true?
That's true.
Oh my god.
A William Lowe cottage cheese packet, that'll be worth some money.
Yeah, fine fair, or at least in Stirling, fine fair became Gateway, became Summerfield.
And
those
Safety
were the
became
days.
Morrison.
John Menzies as well, turned into W.H. Smith.
Oh, I remember
But
John
Menzies
Menzies.
is still going though.
And
It
for,
still exists as a distributor.
and for all those outside of Scotland as well, for some inexplicable reason, we pronounce the word Menzies as Mingus.
Mingus, yeah.
That's my mum's middle name.
Really?
Mingus.
Yeah,
Mingus Campbell.
Fiona Mingus Weaver.
So Menzies, Mingus.
Yeah.
And Mingus, to me, suggests minging.
I know, but I don't know. My mum's not minging. You take that back.
It's like a proper rap battle now, right? We're throwing down mama jokes.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is like we said, this is a stud record. Audition one before
Moving
it.
swiftly on,
Yeah,
Mark.
exactly. Audition was the one that came before it. That's when I really got into him. I was really kind of taken aback by De La Souls, which is a track on that record with Greg from the Bouncing Souls doing a chorus.
That are rotting on the inside. I cherish my free time, but I maximize so my soul needs to unwind. I wanna see the stars be the moon to my sun, but I'm always on the run. I'm fake to all these hard case kids. I'll raise a black fist, but won't say.
Last time I seen him live, actually, was actually supporting the Bouncing Souls in the Cat House, and it was a really interesting time.
Yeah, that's an interesting pairing.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, people were getting really fucking annoyed at him because he was doing hip hop, and he just basically went to the very front of the barrier and he went, "Look, this set is going to happen whether you like it or not, so you just better turn the fuck around and stare at the wall because I'm just going to keep going." And he did. He was in the crowd and all that, and it was just. And then Greg came on, and everybody went mental, and it was really, really cool. But it was really quiet for his set as well. But
That's
it was, like,
Fucking punk as fuck. It's probably the most punk thing that happened that night.
yeah.
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 And that was he had I think it was Paper Tiger he had with him, or was it Later Beak? It was one of the DJs that kind of works in Doomtree, and his live sound's always been fucking pretty incredible. He's a really good front man as well, really good showman. I think a lot of hip hop artists need to be. But I was auditioning when I really got into it. It's also really famous for having P.O.S. Return in My Life, which has got an Under Oath sample in it.
It was buried under a flask and caught peeking from the bottom of a glass. All this nonsense, innocence, common sense, consequence, indulgence in bourbon. This herb between city kids is disturbed. I look around and see the same shit from her.
The guitar bit, and it's from an Under Oath song, which he ostensibly used to play live. Doesn't play any instruments live anymore, but used to play it live. Some videos online. It's actually a really cool video online of him doing a Pearl Jam cover on MTV2, like live from his bedroom. I think it's Why Go, and it is the most abrasive thing, like well more abrasive than Pearl Jam ever were.
I don't think Pearl Jam were famous for being particularly abrasive.
Scratches a letter into a wall made of stone. Maybe someday another
good because he can really sing as well, you know, and that's something he doesn't like explore too much.
That's pretty cool.
But he's a properly talented guy. I think he underplays it a lot, but
no arguments, man. The guy's clearly turned his hand to a lot of things, and he's clearly done well at each and every one. I noticed that there was a lot of chat about We Don't Even Live Here, the album after this, as being like a bit of a fan favourite. Like, how does this compare to that?
Well, maybe you want to talk about this one. I can talk about it for days, but if you've got any thoughts, maybe.
I was really excited for it when it came out, because I was like, I really loved this record, Never Better, and I was like, I just want more sort of live drums, I want more energy, and I listened to it and it was nothing like it.
It's nothing like that at all.
Absolutely nothing like this record.
Yeah, when you feel this, and these rhymes ain't tight, they are terrorists. And that girl's not white, she's an anarchist. And we float like kites through your turbulence. Yeah, born with our throat slit, self-stitched, raised to aim over. A soldier with no king, war with the war on me. I am more than this world lets me be, so I be like a beast, let them bleed, let me see.
And the same energy though.
Yeah,
it's just
it does.
not a punk record.
I had to, like, it just put me off it straight away. I was like, it's not what I expected, so I just didn't get into it. I have recently gone back and listened to it, and it is actually a decent record.
Is it very sampled? What's the difference?
Most of it's electronic. When he was talking to me about, when I was talking, I don't know if I was doing an interview or maybe it was afterwards, but he was saying that.
So you interviewed him for another podcast.
He was saying that he couldn't really tour that album because of his kidney problems. But he said when he was going to make that record, his goal was not only to do something completely different, like wildly different from Never Better, but also he was deciding this was going to be the record where he was going to spend a lot of money and getting like a good producer in and like, you know, building something completely different.
He had like Boys Noise
were on one of the tracks,
a couple others, you know, like big proper like electro producers.
Justin Vernon's on it. He's on How We Land. Yeah, there's a lyric on that record where it's like he's basically building some new shit, so it's like totally like saying I'm doing something completely different at this point. And it's a much shorter record. I think it's only half an hour long. It's 12 tracks, but it is basically quite dancey.
Mm-hmm.
Still quite abrasive though, for sure.
But for me,
I love it, man. I think it's great.
Yeah, I don't know why. I think going back to it now, I can totally see its merits. But when I wanted more of Never Better, and then it just wasn't that. And I like really good electronic stuff, but it maybe just wasn't heavy enough for me in that way. So yeah, for me, Never Better has always been the one that I go back to, and it just really sort of captured a sound. And it was very similar. I remember hearing this was very similar the first time I heard Death Grips. You know, in that like mix of punk and live drums and stuff with hip hop.
Because it was you guys that really like, you know, forced me to kind of like tackle my Death Grips phobia, because it's just a lot of stuff to get your teeth into and a lot to kind of get familiar with. And there is a similarity. This is nowhere near as obstinate as Death Grips. You know, it's nowhere near as like Death Grips do that thing where they go OTT on the production, they go OTT on their attitude, they go OTT on things, and that's part of its inherent appeal. This is a little bit more subtle, but it's still in the same direction. You know, it's still.
And there's definitely a couple of tracks on this that if you listen to it, you could be like, oh, if Death Grips released that now, you'd be like, oh, yeah it's from the new record. They've just put a chorus in it, because that's another thing that's on this record is he's got hooks.
So many hooks.
Got drum roll,
big hooks
is a big one of that as well. It's like a really idiosyncratic way to do a hip hop song. That kind of snare roll all the way through it. And stuff. That's the kind of thing that reminded me of Death Grips. I mean, how does, and again, the last one of the albums, as far as I'm aware, Chill Dummy, how does it compare to that?
It's more chill. It's a lot more introspective, by his own admission. The songs are arranged completely differently. It's hard to describe. It's definitely not like We Don't Even Live Here. It's got a totally different energy to it as well. I came out a completely different period in his life as well because of the kidney failure stuff and all that, and the kidney transplant.
If it sounds, by the way, that like we're occasionally ducking Mark underwater, it's because
I've got a cold.
He's fighting through illness. Seems like it's slightly worse than a cold.
I've got a cold and shingles, so it's
slightly better than botulism.
Yeah, so you know, I'm not contagious though, so it's fine.
Just adjust your speakers for the flood.
How did you find it, Chill Dummy, Weaver?
To be honest, I really haven't listened to it much. I don't know why. I think I just kind of missed it getting released. I don't know. For some reason, because of the record before, I just kind of fell out of...
Yeah, fell off the bandwagon.
Fell off the bandwagon, even though I knew I loved that record, that one record. I was never sort of keeping up to date with what P.O.S. was doing.
It's got one of his best songs on it. The last track, Sleep Drone Superposition.
Exist in superposition. Trying to exist in superposition. Trying to exist in superposition. Clock ticking, keep living, man. Listen, come on. Show up to shine, show me the sign.
So good.
That's the one that I've heard a lot about.
It's about 8 minutes long, and it's just a whole bunch of different hip hop artists coming in and doing like a chorus or a line or a verse or whatever, and he's just got this constant just this keyboard sample of like this. He basically said he used this one synth to like do this entire background of a track, and it sounds dead dense, but it's amazing. It's got Kathleen Hanna on it as well, which is pretty cool. She comes in and does like a spoken word a bit.
Yeah, I read a little bit about his uncertainty about asking her and his uncertainty about what she would say about it, but that she was pretty positive on it. But she'd asked to approve all the lyrics to the song before she took part in it and stuff as well. I can see why. She was politicised, and I'm sure there's no shortage of people just waiting to like shoot her down in flames if she takes part in something where someone's saying the wrong thing. But,
well, that's something that he's always been very politically and socially aware as well.
Very much so.
I mean, listening through this as well, it's totally atypical when it comes to hip hop from my unenlightened perspective, in the sense that it just doesn't have that sort of crass braggadocio gangsta fucking misogyny vibe through it, and I absolutely realise that's a terribly broad generalisation.
I mean, you're talking about,
but what I mean
mainstream.
Is just for people that are unfamiliar with it, like myself, there is that temptation to be like, how's this going to go? You know, am I going?
Yeah, but I mean, there's what's interesting is the timing of this record was 2009, and that was just when Obama was coming into power. And
first of all, fuck Bush. That's the end of it.
Yeah,
there's a lot of that. Yeah.
So this seems like it was like an angry record because it was coming at the end of Bush. But I think it maybe like slightly missed the zeitgeist a little bit because it was coming at that time where there was hope,
positivity,
and they'd got rid of the fucking the tyrant there. And whereas now it's a breeding ground for punk and alternative and fuck the president and fuck the Tories.
It's almost passé. We're honestly at the point now where I think like comedy's engaged with it more than music, because for music it's so boring to criticise Donald Trump. It's like who's even wasting their lyrics criticising Donald Trump when the guy does
nothing more to say about it. Do you know what I mean? There's nothing they can add to it right now.
Well, that's it. I mean, he's so beyond parody or beyond satire.
I mean, you can see why people had to work a little harder. As bad as Bush was, you can see why people had to work a little harder to critique him. Yeah. And then there was people during Obama that were, especially 4 years in, who were a little bit disillusioned that were starting to critique him and all these things about drones and about different aspects of his domestic policy, that they were, it's not really the second coming that we hope for. And people had to work for it. And so it seemed better suited to musicians within their lyrics to muse on these things and, find the cracks in the policies and find the inconsistencies and the hypocrisies. Man, it's like shooting fish in a barrel trying to criticise Donald Trump. The guy's almost out-trolled everybody. There's very little music which really that I'm hearing anyway that's coming out and actually making a point of it. Yeah, it's really bizarre.
There's actually a couple of tracks on We Don't Even Live Here that even criticise Obama as well, because it's because the black guy's in power doesn't necessarily mean to say anything different.
Rightly so as
well.
As
a black guy, he's probably sitting there going, nothing's changed for these people and people around me. The
guy was the best president of our lifetime, but he's still within that role.
That's very low standard.
There was still plenty within his time that left a lot to be desired, and albeit a lot more nuanced. It's a really interesting point that you say that this was coming on just at that era, because there was a change. There was a change in tone. There was a change in vibe. I mean, remember what that feeling when he first got elected? It was just
absolutely.
euphoric.
And this was kind of the opposite in that it was a sort of slightly negative take on society and a sort of pessimistic view of just how we, you read the lyrics and it's like it is quite pessimistic about how we deal with each other as humans and never better. That's the whole point of it.
I mean, I guess the interpersonal stuff remains valid. I mean, I think that the smaller you focus your lyrics, the smaller, you cast that light, the more relevant it remains, because these interpersonal issues tend to perpetuate throughout generations. But with the bigger subjects, especially like Bush and the Iraq War, it doesn't always date that well, especially when it's superseded by something exponentially more absurd. I mean, although in saying that, not exponentially more awful in terms of body count. I think people forget that, but exponentially more awful in terms of sheer, just appalling decline of institutions. And I think it is interesting the timing of this record and how it connected at that time. Did people sort of go, man, those are some killer jams, but I'm just not feeling that sort of cynicism right now that surely is a phenomenon that could be tracked?
Well, I think there's a song there called Optimist, isn't there? So it's not completely pessimistic, but I do think he had a lot of valid things to say at that time, because I think he just has a general distrust of politicians.
That can be kind of passé within punk and hip hop, can't it? I mean, it's how you articulate that. I mean, having a mistrust or a distrust is sort of like a bit of an eye roller. It's like, yeah, whatever, but what have you actually got to say about it? Where are you coming from? And it seems like he does come from some pretty interesting places.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just a kind of blanket, numbskull.
Fuck the president. No, he studies things. You know, he studies what he's saying. Yeah, it's definitely not just sort of blanket insults at society. I think there's nuance in his thought, which I like.
So, I mean, it seems like the album fits especially well then, given, you know, that one of the remits of the whole Unsung thing was that trying to picture which albums could be the best within the catalogue of an under-recognised artist, as well as, you know, bigger artists in the under-recognised album. And this one really is a strong shout for that.
It's worth noting at this point as well, like he's the only member from Doomtree that is signed to Rhymesayers Records, which is the much bigger record label founded by Atmosphere, based in Minneapolis as well. And Atmosphere are a pretty huge deal in America, certainly. And I think they sold at the Garage last time and played here as well, so they're really quite well known. And Slug, the singer, or the sort of vocalist, MC, whatever, he's been really good at bringing artists through. But you always seen quite a lot in P.O.S, I think, which is why he signed him to Rhymesayers, and Rhymesayers is a really big thing. And I think Doomtree initially was kind of trying to be based on that, but Doomtree's definitely went in its own direction.
Hi guys, Dave here. I have
Bruno
to.
Brooks.
Yeah, I hope you're enjoying this podcast. I know I sure am, but unfortunately, I've got to walk home because I can't afford to fill my car with petrol. That's not true. I just filled it up yesterday.
Keep it. They'll believe it. They'll believe it.
Yeah, exactly. I know, but I couldn't afford to. I'm gonna have to. Oh fuck! I'm gonna start again.
I like that.
In fact, I can't start again because we can't afford any more tape. So I'm just going to have to keep going. Please donate money to help this podcast. Just give us £1 if you enjoy it. Give us £2 if you love it. Give us £4 if you want to go out with Chris on a date.
Why so dear?
You know. But yeah, just go to unsungpod.net.
/donate.
/donate.
You pulled it out the fire. I thought that was done, but
/donate.
you brought it back.
/donate. /donate. That would be lovely, thanks.
The album, it peaked at 106, I believe, in the US charts. So it's not.
It wasn't mainstream, but that's pretty good for a sort of small independent.
Yeah, and I mean that's, you know, post that kind of 2004 sales cliff that happened. So it's still modest, albeit not insignificant.
He did a Warp Tour around this record. He went on Warp Tour, which was interesting because he was like, "Yeah, I'm not doing hip hop clubs. I'm a live punk artist."
What's the story about him accidentally ending up in the Gym Class Heroes tour? How did he accidentally end up in that?
I don't know. I hadn't heard that.
I was looking it up.
And it was probably from Warp Tour though. It's the only valid reason I could think.
So Gym Class Heroes were touring, and all it said was he accidentally ended up in this tour, and I was like, damned if I could find out Why?
So basically, after this record, and I've hinted at it a few times as well, is he had a lot of health. For his whole life, he had a lot of health problems. He had chronic kidney problems for his entire life up until fairly recently. And it would be a case where he would like take dialysis machine on tour with him, and after we come off stage, the first thing he'd do is go right in dialysis because his kidneys were just basically not cleaning up his blood properly. And he put all this energy, all this time, all this effort in getting the right people or getting people that he really liked involved to try and make a bit more of a mainstream record than We Don't Even Live Here. And We Don't Even Live Here's got a lot of that. It's got a lot of choruses on it. A bit like Low Light, Low Life, that kind of thing, which is on Never Better. So basically he put all this time and effort into writing this record and getting this record made, and I really like it. I think it's a fucking great record. I couldn't stop listening to it, despite the fact it's got Justin Vernon on it, but that's a whole different conversation we'll have another day. When I interviewed him, he said he had a huge plan for like a year and a half of like just solid fucking hitting the road and absolutely paying the fuck out of the record. And he was like, my kidneys just couldn't do it, so they failed, and it was all over the internet, and lots of kind fans said they would donate kidneys and all that.
Did he actually take a kidney from a fan?
I don't know. I think he took it from one of his close friends or family members, but they had no end of people wanting to donate that stuff to him, and he raised quite a lot of money for the surgery and all that. And
so see if you give a band, or even better, if you give a musician one of your kidneys, and then you ask for a guestie, what's that? A plus?
Plus 6 for life. I should think, yeah, because you'd be dead. You just saved a man or woman's life.
No, a plus 50% the capacity of the room.
But after that, he was off the road for ages, and he didn't really do very much. And one of the reasons why Chill Dummy took so long to come about is because he said, by his own admission, if he had some interviews around it, he actually references it in his Sleep Drone Superposition. I think he wanted to write music about how he was thankful about like how people would like donated stuff or like wanted to help him, but it's like it was all coming out really cheesy and horrible. And then from what I gather, I don't know much about this, but like a lot of people were also, he kind of lost a lot of friendships as well because he was so ill and he couldn't do it, and all he was doing for like 6 months to a year was just like rattling around his house while he was getting better. And he's got 2 kids, so
what do you mean he was disillusioned because the people that claimed to be close to him didn't actually? Was it that music thing where you have a lot of acquaintances and not friends, and you kind of find that out in a kind of hard time?
I don't know for sure, but that seems to be from the interviews kind of one thing which has been implied, and it's a bit of a theme in Chill Dummy as well. Like
it's a bit of a theme in music, really. I think it's one of those industries where people network, people play shows, people meet people, and everybody's very oh hey, you know, and it's like how many of these people can you actually count on? So it's interesting to hear when somebody gets to one of those moments, and then they're kind of like looking at their list of calls to see, you know, when was the last time this person wondered how I was.
I'm wary about speaking for him because obviously like there's much more to it, there must be, and it's possible I may have got it wrong from my interpretation of the interviews, but certainly it seems to be a theme from the stuff that I've read anyway.
I've been doing my own thing so long. I've been in my own way so long. Yeah, I've been up and over. She could be my only way. Only chance left. Put the pressure on.
I like to think I know what people are thinking better than they do, so that's fine. I'll take that upon myself. You're welcome.
But yeah, and Chill Dummy's a completely different record with that particularly in mind.
So did he produce those as well? Because a lot of this was self-produced, right?
No, he didn't do. We don't even.
No,
live
sorry,
here.
that's the one that had a lot of producers on it. But did he revert to producing himself, or because
it's a combination on Chill Dummy? Yeah,
I think that's one of the really appealing things about albums is sometimes it just clicks so well when the artist has a big role in the production because you're getting something really uttered, you're getting something really unfiltered and full of personality, and you know.
Yeah, I think there's something on this record, like even the tracks that are very different from each other still have a very similar feel.
Yeah, it sounds like an album. It doesn't sound like a collection of songs. It sounds like an album. It sounds scrappy at points, I think, as well.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not a euphemism for like poorly produced. I think it's really well produced.
Get smokes. We ain't got bodegas, we got gas stations. Choke steady, rock ready for whatever pops.
It's unfussy, and we've spoken about that in past. Like, I mean, we spoke about what Portishead, for example. There's an unfussiness to the samples that are used. You can hear some of the hiss, you can hear some of the room noise and some of the drum samples They're not clean samples, not being overly gated or overly EQ'd. They're quite raw, but it's kind of nice because of that. There's personality in there. There's a real a real sense of authenticity that tends to come from it. And sometimes it's deliberate, and other times it's just a producer's naivety, you know. But sometimes getting a better producer, actually the result is not as good, because the better producer's instincts are like, oh, that's got some hiss at like 6K, let's kill that. Whereas the artist might not really have twigged, and then weirdly that adds, you know, a bit of like life to something that could have been too clean. And I think this album has a lot of that in it. It's got a lot of personality, and even though these songs and even the approaches to some of these songs are very different, none of them sound too slick. I think the slickest one is Goodbye for me.
Yeah. Do you recognize when the world won't stop for you? Or when your days don't care what you got to do? Or when your ways too tough to lift up, what do? They don't choose for you, don't let them choose. Recognize when the world won't stop for you. Or when your days don't care.
That's the one that when I heard it, I can hear it in my head right now. It's a really strong single, and it sounds to me like the closest to like stereotypical big hip hop single, but it's not overproduced.
We Don't Even Live Here's got a lot more songs like that on it, like Fuck Your Stuff. Was like the first single from that, and it's got that sound immediately. Still got the same kind of vocal tics that he has, you know, like sometimes in the record he'll say stuff as if he's talking to an engineer.
The vocals are extra loud. Thanks, Jesse.
Yeah, he makes mistakes, but he leaves them in, doesn't he?
It's kind of got a little bit of that.
Yeah, it's
on
nice.
it, which I really like about all of his records, because he's always got stuff like that on it, which I think is very intentional.
I think Low Life is like the one that's like a real sort of dance, like that's, you know, you can see that getting played in a club, and it's like really upbeat, and it comes after a couple of sort of more introverted tracks.
There goes another one, right out from under them, different seashore, same 30 stores. There goes another one, right out from under them, worldwide mining town. Steal it up, sell it down. And not too long ago, mom and pop owned the shop. Prognosis, progress.
I kind of thought
it's another one that's like really...
The sample on that is fucking great as well, man.
Yeah.
I actually thought it was a slightly strange choice to start with Let It Rattle. I thought it was a pretty slow start to the album. I mean, it's a strong tune once it gets going, but it takes a couple of minutes to get going.
If there ain't nobody to be pretty for, fuck it. Let it rattle, let the clatter kill him, let the cataclysm wash. Who really listens? Precision with a verse draws a crowd. I draw a line between an easy melody and peace of mind. I keep the gain tweaked, freak the same to its own thing, spit the plain pain, econo lines for the dime class.
He's got that, and We Don't Even Live Here as well. The first song, Bumper, is kind of like drum roll. It's just like it's really abrasive, but it's really sparse sounding, and it takes a while to get somewhere. Then you get into the next track, and you're like, "Oh fuck, we're going."
I mean, the drums kick Let It Rattle into shape. I mean, that's when it opens up, and you hear that this is a punky album. You hear the sound of the drums, the room.
But more like, what exactly do you do?
They hide their eyes and can't describe what they've been missing. They fire your mind and can't describe what they've been laying down.
But I just thought, like, musically speaking, I was like, oh, it's quite a slow start, and I wasn't really sure. I mean, I think track 2 drum roll is superb. I mean, I just think that's such a great tune.
Got me looking for disinfectant. God, I'm bored. Y'all must have forgotten, so you were dealing with nothing less than the question, so naked, so crystal clear with a trust and absolutely fucking nothing but doom trick. Step up your thought game, lane.
That shout, God, I'm bored.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. Like, I love that. I mean, that was the one where, you know, I'm like, all right, we're doing this record. I have to listen to it. And I listened to the first tune. I was like, that's pretty cool. You know, try to just very cerebrally appraising the sounds and trying to like think of what I'm going to say. Track 2, I was like, I genuinely like this. This is actually something I'm really enjoying, and I'm no longer kind of making notes. I'm just appreciating it, and that was nice. It was encouraging, you know. And from then on, I didn't think it slowed down for quite a while.
Saving Glover came off a Doomtree mixtape.
Yeah, that's a previous song that he's recorded and he redid it for this.
Steadily record for anybody who raps on naps on facts. Fill the end line 6 to end hits. The Oval Office and the lobby probably listen to Fugazi singing. This one's ours, let's take another. This one's ours, let's take another. This one's ours, let's take another. And then they dance away clean like Savior and Glover. And
I mean, that's like catnip for me because of the Fugazi references.
Yeah.
I think it's a bit more conventionally hip hop, but I mean, I'm a sucker for a name drop, and the Fugazi trivia is, yeah, you've got me there, man. You can take me home now. I'm ready for bed.
This is a bit of an aside, but it's still hip hop related. There's a Sage Francis song on a record he did called Non-Profits, and he had this alter ego on it called Zolzan. And there's a line on one of the songs that's just like, I go to Fugazi shows requesting minor threat songs. Just like one of the best fucking things I've heard in a long time.
I'm a total mark for that stuff, man. It's like if you're not sure about the crowd, throw that in, and it's just like, yeah. I'm at the merch stand. It's got a great kick beat in Savian Glover as well, man. It's like it's a really subtle detail in the song, but the kick drum beat is brilliant. Like, it could have been a flat tune, but that completely sets everything off. And I think, like, if you haven't even thought about it in that sense, like, listen to it back and just listen to how much that kick beat breathes life into that tune.
I think the percussion in this record is what gives it that biting sort of energy and urgency that really sort of sets it apart for me. Yeah, definitely.
P.O.S is probably my favourite song on the record.
Let them try to find the beauty in your face. Yeah, something more than a song hating. Oh, come on, dust. Let them try to find the beauty in the baseline. Oh, when the words don't change, we don't sing with what fade away. Yeah, we do our own damn thing.
That, you know, there's a weirdly post-rock vibe to P.O.S. See that big cymbal crash thing at the end? It's like, it's got that epic sort of rock dynamic to it that you virtually never hear in hip hop records. And yeah, I mean, I think, like I've already kind of said, I think like track 6, like Goodbye, with it's just that is a single. I mean, he must have known. It was probably, I think, as somebody who's had to arrange more than a couple of records in my time, it's like when you're trying to pick that first tune and you've got this one and you're like, this is such a banger. Do I blow my load straight off the bat? Do I do like a space hog? Wonder kind of like front load it to fuck, just like stick the big single on as the first track and everything else is just like, so one track and then like 10 B-sides, better in this case 15, but he puts Goodbye in it, but I think it's number 6, and I mean, that's a big tune.
Or at least until I try, but at least until I'm right, but at least until I'm fly, let me get it on tight. But at least until it's mine, but at least until it's time, let me set them up and knock them down, come on. But at least until I'm fine, but at least until I'm wrong, but at least until
there's some really nice synths in it. It's got the kind of slightly cheesy female backing vocal as well, but it's just, you were talking about dance floor tunes, I think that's the dance floor tune in this album for me.
I've definitely played that
kind of thing as
a good few times. So
Get Smokes is kind of cool, just this little interlude almost.
Yeah, I mean the sparse drum clips in that are brilliant, man. That's really, really nice. The way he's kind of broken them up and just it's that's a bit Death Gripsy in that sense as well. It's quite choppy sounding. Yeah.
Smokes. We ain't got bodegas, we got gas stations. Choke steady, rock ready for whatever pops. Put the surface like Mercedes chops. Better lost anyway. Okay, slash fast getaway, crash whatever path and stop. Whether it's caskets or gas hits, last drops I'll stash whatever math I've added in a basket and bury it. You let them pull the wool, I pull the
chain. Low Light, Low Life, which we've already spoken about, is just
big soulful beast.
Yeah. It's got that amazing. That was when I first heard Dessa.
Yeah, her verse on that is fucking brilliant.
Amazing, man. She's so good. Yeah. She's so good. I think it's got Astronautilus on it as well. He's on one of the songs, I can't remember which one. You can always tell his voice.
I think he's on the hidden track, that handmade handgun.
That's that chorus and that's fucking dynamite, man. Dynamite.
I love a good hidden track.
I am a handmade handgun, operated by paper crooks, loaded up with bullets or blank pages torn from your little black book. You can call me all your favorites.
Astronautilus does that a lot of his songs. He's got that kind. He's got when he sings, he's got that kind of weird, growly kind of blues singer voice, and his hooks are always like that. Always like that.
I don't know about you guys as well, but as I said, I thought the second half of it is still really good. As a side B, it's still strong, but has fewer notable peaks. I thought Terrorish was particularly good though. I thought that was the one that
eyes in the back of my head. That's
yeah.
Check. That's good right there.
That one was the one that really lifted it again for me. Because
Yeah.
it was taking a slight dip. I was getting a wee bit fatigued, but it comes in.
Like out of categories a wee bit. I mean, you could probably take it off the record and I don't think you'd lose anything. Optimist I really like, because the beat, which obviously made himself for the cups, it's on it does it in the video. If you see the video for it, you see him actually using the cups and how he made the beat. It's fucking really, really cool. Plastic cups. And it's just got a really nice kind of relaxing vibe about it. He's also got Optimist tattoos on his hands as well, which is quite cool.
OPTIM.
Like a big sort of mural thing, like on his fingers. That's
I'm
that's
just
quite cool.
trying to work out how many letters that is. It's
Terrorist has got Jason Shiftchick. I don't know how to say his surname, but it was on Kid Dynamite, and then None More Black. I hope we cover Kid Dynamite at some point, but following on for if you're having Greg from Bouncing Souls on Audition, it's another indication of him bringing a punk singer in to do a hook in a song, and that he's that massive gruff voice.
a good kind of canary in the coal mine for me with some of the records you guys give me, especially the hip hop stuff, is my flatmate. He's a big hip hop fan, but he was a little bit turned off by some of the kind of punk guest vocals in it. Not that he's a guy that loves a good screamed vocal as well within its own context, but I think he thought a couple of them were a little bit contrived on this, especially later on. Overall, he thought it was a great record. He was really happy when I told him about it, and he's been listening to it, but he did think that the low points for him were a couple of moments where he was like, he's sort of shoehorned in a punk singer there, and I don't think it needed it. So, just as a caveat, in case this sounds like we're blowing excessive smoke up P.O.S.'s ass.
I think I like it a lot. I think it really elevates the song.
But you're a mark for that.
I'm a mark for that thing, so yeah, I'm into that. I mean, I don't know. Would there be would there be a more interesting, air quotes, way of doing it? If you want somebody to come in and do their thing, you want them to come in and do it in the most accessible and kind of easiest fashion, do you know?
Get a homeless guy to do it.
What do you think about the last two songs?
I think it ends well. Like, I like it. I listen to this record a lot on vinyl, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So by that point, I am like, it just sort of fades out. Yeah, I think it, just overall, I think it works as a record. I think it's a really nice package. It's also, I fucking love the artwork as well.
Oh yeah, apparently the vinyl came out and it had like interchangeable.
Yeah, it's got
covers
like
and
transparent bits in it.
So you could
like
basically
slides.
have your own combination of artwork in the front.
Yeah, it's a really nice record.
We can show what your particular combination of those is. How many is it? Again, it's like 20 and 8 or something like that. Is that right? It's like,
I can't remember. I don't know. You fiddle about with it.
yeah, there's like
I don't like to fiddle about with it because I don't want to ruin it.
There's like multiple colours and then multiple patterns.
Yeah,
and
so there's probably,
I wonder what the actual combination,
The
like
math.
possible.
Yeah.
Somebody can maybe, if somebody can get us a figure on the possible number of iterations of cover combinations for the P.O.S. Never Better album, we'll think of a prize, or we'll at least give you a shout out for being some kind of smart ass. But yeah, it's a really innovative idea. So David, maybe send us a picture of your personal combination.
why don't I do a little video for the socials?
Yes, put that in us. Put that in us.
I'll do that.
So before we get to the end, let's do the new section, which I'm introducing this fucking episode.
Oh yeah, I'm
Yeah,
excited
so
for this.
He's floated this, but David and I don't really know what it is. But Mark,
You've got a
promises
jingle for it.
I've got a jingle for it. I will record it. It's
Yeah,
gonna
so
be
the jingle
amazing.
would go now.
Right here. Right, it's going to go right now.
That was
I hope
brilliant.
I hope that jingle was good.
No, that jingle
That
was
jingle
good.
was amazing.
I just
Great
heard
jingle.
it. Yeah, I just edited it. And it was brilliant, man. Honestly.
So it's basically, I'm calling it the Foo Fighters Nexus, which is basically 6 degrees separation for Dave Grohl, right?
So take Kevin Bacon out and put in the Foo Fighters.
Yeah, mostly Dave Grohl. So how many jumps it take to get, like, it's come up quite a lot on this podcast that Dave Grohl or the Foo Fighters seem to be a recurrent theme in a lot of the stuff we do.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm now wondering, every single record that we do should be perhaps find out how many jumps it takes to get from that artist to Dave Grohl.
Okay. I'm going to go out on a limb and say 2 for this one because he's in punk bands.
I'm gonna say 3.
I think I'm 3.
Yeah, that's true. All right.
Okay, there
Is
are
that-
actually
sorry.
2 combinations for this, and they're both basically 1 jump, maybe 2 jumps at the most.
Holy shit. Okay.
We'll figure it out. You can tell me if it's 1 or 2.
He's in Foo Fighters.
He's not.
That is 1 jump.
He could, no, 1 jump would be like,
You need to.
Point A to point B is one jump.
We need to agree on the rules before
Point
this
A
becomes a bit.
To point B is one jump. Point B to point C is 2 jumps, and so on. Does that make sense?
Well, let's hear, and we'll decide how many jumps it was.
Yes.
Okay, so the first one is Foo Fighters released a song on a 7-inch box set for Planned Parenthood, which Bon Iver also released a song on. And Bon Iver, Justin Vernon, not only worked with P.O.S. and Gangs, but he also has a guest vocal on We Don't Even Live Here.
That's 2 jumps.
Okay.
That's 2, because your Bon Iver is your middle, your island there that you're
So 2
hopping
jumps.
along.
The other one's probably 2 jumps as well. The other one would be Dave Grohl dated Kathleen Hanna, and Kathleen Hanna is on Chill
That's
Dummy.
2 jumps.
That's
yeah.
2 jumps.
One
So
jump
2
would
jumps.
be Dave Grohl dated P.O.S.
Which we're not ruling out at this point.
Could happen, yeah. So 2 jumps is 2 jumps to get to
Yeah,
Dave
that's
Grohl
cool.
from
Two's
P.O.S.
respectable. You've done
Two
it twice.
jumps.
2 jumps, yeah.
If this was, I mean, this may be the template for some successful TV quiz show at some point in the future because they're scraping the barrel already.
Yeah.
I've got an idea for another
you should
thing which we'll
patent
talk about
Before
later
this
on.
goes out.
Yeah. Done. So that's our 6 degrees of Dave Grohl.
2 degrees of Dave Grohl. But yeah, the Foo Fighters Nexus. Well
Yeah.
done.
Thank you.
Thanks, that was enjoyable.
Jingle again or no jingle again?
There's an ending. Oh, you'll get it. Put it in here.
Wow, that ending was good.
It's going to be worth it, hopefully.
Well, I think all 3 of us agree that this is going to go in.
Yeah, I
Um,
think it meets all the criteria for unsung.
It's a good record.
And it's good.
It's probably his best, if not his most unique and standout record.
yeah.
And he's an artist that maybe doesn't have the recognition that he should have. I think this record came out at a time that it, if it had come out a bit later or a bit earlier, I think it would have got more traction as well.
Yeah, I've no
It's-
idea what this actually means, but if more hip hop was like this, I would listen to hip hop.
I thought
It just means you don't try hard enough.
That was my.
That might be what this means.
That was kind of when I first heard this. I kind of thought I like hip hop, but I was like, I wish more but had this kind of vibe to it.
Yeah.
But maybe like Dave says, maybe just not trying hard enough.
Well, that's a good shit.
Great.
So it goes in then.
Go and vote, please,
Yeah,
on
go
the
vote on the Facebook page.
Yeah,
Click yes.
jobs are good.
This record should be in.
Next week, I am very, very happy to say we're going to be looking at the mighty Godspeed You Black Emperor.
What album?
Hallelujah, don't bend, ascend. I have no idea how they want us to say it, but it's got lots of exclamation marks in it, as does their career. Yeah, absolutely one of the finest musical outfits to ever exist. So I am into it, even though it's not normal to be this excited about Godspeed. But I actually never thought I'd see them, and then suddenly they were back in the scene.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm very glad that they
yeah.
exist again.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I am gonna do my exercises because there's gonna be a lot of talking for me in the next episode.
Okay.
Great.
Well, thanks, guys.
Sweet.
Bye.
Cheers.
Into the great escape, 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 into the great escape.